Brendan Burke had been extremely clear. Multiple conversations I'd had with him, and I, tried to communicate that on this podcast and in writing in the Blazing Musket that this is what fans should expect to see, was this really heavily rotated squad, and for two reasons. One, um, Burke has made it very, very clear that he does not see the U.S. Open Cup as a competition that Hartford Athletics should be prioritizing at this particular juncture in time, right? And I don't think that's to say that he thinks the competition is not worth anything. He was with Houston Dynamo when they won that competition a couple of seasons back. It's clearly not that he thinks the whole thing is garbage. Um, but it doesn't make sense for this club at this juncture in time to prioritize it. So that was one reason. And the second reason was he doesn't have all the guys. Like Emmanuel Samadia is still in Sierra Leone. Babakar Njai is not fit. Samuel Cariaga, Barry Coffey, all not fit, right? You had Mishin Galina coming back from an injury, not 100%, right? You have Adiwali Obalola, who was making his first appearance after being in that game after being away for a couple of games with a minor injury. So I did not see it as a game where I expected that we would see a strong lineup. I do think that fans who were a little frustrated by that, particularly fans who had gone to Pawtucket on a weeknight in the cold and the rain, were pretty upset. I think pretty frustrated to see what felt like, I don't want to say the B team, because some of these are guys who are going to have to play significant minutes this season and certainly will be relied on, but definitely not the Stars, right? It's very much the same as if you're an NBA fan and you show up to see your favorite team play the one night they're in your city and they rest their starters, right? Which is happening more and more in the NBA. And of course, there are good reasons for that, right? The load on players, the minutes load has gone up and up and up. We know that's not good for their bodies. It is healthy for the players to get rested. And then as a fan, you show up and you don't get to see whoever you were excited to see, right? So I understand the fan frustration with the lineup. And I think it's fair, we can talk about the Miami game in a moment, it's fair to ask if it really even paid off, right? The theory in some ways was that you would rotate the squad here, accept a bad result if it came your way, because it was more important to try and get points in Miami that would go towards getting this team into the playoffs and potentially getting a home playoff game by the end of the season. I can see both sides of this. I can see Brendan Burke's perspective that, this is not the right competition for us to prioritize. We have limited resources. He doesn't have, he doesn't even have the benefit of having a strong academy where, like you might see in the FA Cup in England, where a Premier League team would say, early round game of this competition or early round game of the Carabao Cup, we're going to call up a bunch of these guys, give them their first senior cap, et cetera, et cetera. And we believe we can still get a result against, a championship side or a, League One or League Two side, whoever they might be playing in that first round. So there's limited options, and I understand the desire to prioritize the league. I also understand the fan perspective from the folks who are saying this is our, at least theoretically, our biggest rivals. It sucks to lose to them in a cup competition when it doesn't feel like we even really gave it our best effort. And also, like, we drove out there, and this is kind of what we got. I don't necessarily know that either one of those perspectives is correct, right? I think there's value in both of them. I don't think I wouldn't want to say that either one of them was more right than the other. And I think for managers all over the world, but particularly in a league like this, you're constantly having to balance a lot of those factors. Brendan Burke's comments after that game that he felt his primary role was to protect the players and to manage their workload and to manage their ability to do as well as they could in the competitions the club was prioritizing, certainly makes a lot of sense. And at the same time, fans who are frustrated or unhappy that they're not seeing the best of their club every time also makes a lot of sense.